Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, 2002 movie, second part in the series of book adaptations. Chris Columbus still directing, John Williams still doing the score. Cast from the previous film, joined by Toby Jones, Jason Isaacs, and Kenneth Branagh. Story starts with Harry being prevented from returning to Hogwarts by Dobby, a house elf who shows up and claims he's doing all of this for the boys' protection, as there are terrible things about to happen at the school during the next months. Harry gets rescued by Ron, he does end up returning to school, and terrible things do indeed start happening. Apparently, someone has opened the legendary Chamber of Secrets, releasing a mysterious monster which now stalks the school and threatens Muggle-born students. So in terms of tone, this is still close to the whimsy and wonder of the first movie, but with the darkness already beginning to ramp up a little bit, there are scarier moments here and there, and more innocent characters are in direct danger of harm. The acting, still very good. I like the humor. Special effects hold up remarkably well. What I will say is I didn't have as much fun as I did with the first part, mostly because of the more noticeable flaws within the plot, which of course has to do more with the source book rather than the movie. But I also think translating that onto the film and making everything shorter and slightly quicker and more rushed, which you have to do, doesn't help. I have three main problems then with the plotting. Problem number one, the central investigation into what is happening at the school seems very engaging on your first watch through, and even more so on your read through. But thinking about it afterwards, you have to wonder, how is it possible that this legend of the chamber has existed for over 1,000 years? The chamber itself has been opened twice now. We know it's been created by Salazar Slytherin, whose name sounds like a snake, whose house logo is a snake, who could famously talk to snakes. And then the monster leaves people petrified, which is something that a basilisk can do, and a basilisk is a giant fucking snake. And somehow none of the adults for 1,000 years can connect the dots and figure out that it is a basilisk that moves through the pipes. It's left to Harry and the gang. I mean, the adults, worth noting as well, including Dumbledore, who is supposed to be one of the smartest wizards ever. And Dumbledore is my second point of complaint. The characterization in this story makes him seem like a straight up moron. I mean, the investigation is one thing, but he also takes almost no He also takes almost no security measures to protect the students. Like, why don't they just evacuate somewhere else? People are getting petrified left and right. Or the Gilderoy Lockhart hire as a teacher. I mean, anyone with two eyes can see that he's a moron at best and a dangerous fraud at worst. And he does end up threatening the students, yet Dumbledore hires him. And this is a bit of a deeper cut, but bear with me. A major plot point is that Tom Riddle is Lord Voldemort's real name, which nobody knows, because he himself abandoned that name. Okay, that makes sense. But Dumbledore knew. He knew that was his name. And he knew Voldemort hates his name. And in fact, he sort of uses the Tom Riddle name against him in later books and in later movies to strip away the power of the new name. He calls him Tom to sort of remind him of the past and to make him seem like a regular human being. So why doesn't he use that ever before? Like, as propaganda, even during the war against Voldemort before the books, to make it common knowledge that this guy is called Tom Riddle. Publish it, make it part of the history books, let the people know. And then, by the time the movie happens, the plot would never even begin, because neither Harry nor Ginny would trust the diary in the first place. And the final point of complaint, the ending is straight up a deus ex machina. Yes, the Phoenix is established a little bit earlier. Yes, the Sorting Hat shows up to remind us it exists. And yes, Dumbledore mentioned that anyone who asks for help will get it. But still, during the final confrontation, the bird shows up out of nowhere to provide Harry with a weapon and then heal him back from his wound. It just doesn't really feel earned, does it? Now, all of this is of course me being a cynical adult picking apart a movie made primarily for kids. So I myself, I'm not really taking these faults all too seriously. I accept them as part of the premise of this world. I still thought the movie overall was a decently entertaining watch and is certainly not ruined by its flaws, but let's just keep it in mind that it's not exactly a masterpiece in terms of its plotting.